Welcome to Draw It with Mrs. Steele. I'm Mrs. Steele from Camping Stick Kids. You can find all our resources at www.campingstickkids.org. Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Steele. I'm so glad you're here today. We will be drawing rocks, boulders, and mountains on our paper today. You can find it in our book, Breakout, on page 22. If you turn to that page, you'll find it in here. If you don't have our book, you can go to www.campingstickkids.org to get it. It comes, by the way, with a hiking stick and stickers that you can earn for your hiking stick. There's so much about it that you would love. So go ahead over to our website in our shop and you will find the Breakout book and hiking stick. If you just want to join us with a piece of your own paper, that would be great too. Now, I was a teacher for a long time, and so I always love to teach a little bit before we start our drawing. These are some special rocks that I have collected over the years. Some of them, like this one, I think was just in the backyard, and I just thought it was kind of awesome, so I picked that one up. But others, if you look closely, you can see that they have these little designs in them. And these are very special stones that I picked up on a trip to Petoskey, Michigan. In fact, this stone and one of the other ones is named for the town. And if you put it in water, rub it just a little bit, you'll see this six-sided pattern emerges. And those are little tiny fossils in the Petoskey stone. This one's the same. Let's see this one here. This one has the same little fossils in it. Look how interesting that is. Now, you probably wouldn't find these in your backyard. You'd have to go, they're really only found in Michigan, along Lake Michigan's shores, especially in Petoskey. Some of them also that I found are a little bit different. I love putting rocks in water, by the way, because it kind of shows all the special things a little more. This one I loved. I thought maybe it was an arrowhead or a heart when I first found it. But I don't think it really is. But you can see the little designs on it. I really encourage you to go into your backyard, find some rocks, bring them inside, get a little cup of water. Look at that one. As soon as I put it in water, you can see all the different colors and designs in it that you couldn't see when it was dry. Let's see. Oh, this one, look how interesting that is. I picked it up originally when it was dry, and then when I got it wet, I was really excited because look, it has a fossil in it. Look at that. So I want to encourage you. Go rock collecting. Find some rocks, put them in water, research them, find out what kind of a rock it is. Maybe there's something special about it that you'll discover. But for now, let's get started with Draw It. Here we are, ready to draw. Now, I have some of my rocks here, and you can see these rocks are only a little smaller than these rocks, but I'm going to show you how to make this little pile of rocks look like boulders when we draw it. But let's start with just rocks. Now, remember if you were with us for our feather nest and bird drawing, you'll remember that we started in the left-hand corner and we went up to the right-hand corner to start our feather. Well, we're going to do the same thing today. Start in your left-hand corner and you're going to swoop up almost to that top right-hand corner and stop. Leave your pencil there. And then come back down and you're going to swoop down to the right-hand bottom corner. And we're going to make this a path. Have you ever been walking? And along the path, of course, maybe there's a little bit of grass. You could draw some grass. I just usually do a few little 3 like that, or you could do 4 and make them smaller to make it look like grass. The thing about grass when you draw it is not to draw it all over. Just put a few little pieces of it here and there. Go ahead and add your grass. It's okay if you don't add as much as I did. Just add a few, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's our little path. And when you're walking along, sometimes on a path, you'll see a rock. Now we don't want to make it too big because that would be a boulder. We're just going to make a little rock here, make a upside down umbrella shape, and then give it a little squiggly bottom. Because rocks, when they lie down, almost never look like a complete circle or an oval. Now, in order to make one behind the other, you start at the top of this one and you go around and you give them maybe a straight line. Now, when rocks become smaller and smaller, they're called pebbles. So make a few pebbles. Let's make another rock on the path up here. We'll give it a straight line for the bottom and a curve for the top. Maybe another one here. You could make them a weird shape too. You know, rocks are never exactly one shape. Put a few more pebbles there. And there's our rocks. We're going to write the word rocks down below. You can get an adult to write rocks on the first line. R, O, C, K, and because we did more than one rock, we're going to add an S, rocks. That's called the plural. And then you can write it again, copy underneath, try to do it exactly like the one you see. Pay attention to the top line, midline, and baseline. C, K starts at the top line, but lowercase k stays between the midline and the baseline. And there's the word rocks. Okay, let's move on to boulders. Now I have my 3 rocks here. I hope you can see them. I'll bring them closer down. And I can make this little pile of rocks look like boulders. Now I'm not going to follow exactly the same shape as you see here, but I'll do my best. Like this first one's pretty easy because he has a flat bottom and he's kind of long. So I'm going to give him sort of a little nose where he is down at the bottom, and then I'll make him a little bigger at the back. And then this one here is more round, and to make sure you see that he's touching this one. And I'm going to make him a little rounder. I'm going to have him come behind like this and then give him that straight line again so it looks like he's sitting down. And then this one's quite big. And I can see that line goes from here down to here. So I'm going to start my line at the top of this one. And I'm going to come down here and stop my line right there. And then I'm going to draw the back of him. So I can start again a little further up on the top of this other one that I created. And I'm going to do a hump and a hump and a hump. Huh? It looks like a race car, doesn't he? And there's our first part of our boulders. Now I want to teach you a couple of things with your pencil. You know, the top part of your pencil should be very, very sharp. But you should also have a pencil that is not as sharp. This one's not as sharp, and I'm going to show you today how shading on the side can give you some nice textures for your boulders. Let's start though with our sharp pencil. And I'm going to draw the shadows, and I can see that the shadows are darkest in here. And what you're going to do, this whole space right here, I'm going to use the end of my pencil, and I'm going to just color in that little space. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you should press nice and hard with your pencil. See how I'm pressing really hard and how dark it's getting? And then when you get almost to the end, start not pressing quite as hard. And that's the darkest part of that stone. I also can see on my stones down here, when they're sitting down on the ground, that's where the darkest part is. And where they're touching each other, that is also a dark part. So you're just going to do a little shading there. And then this one, I'm going to do all along the bottom, I'm going to do a little bit of darkness. You see, you don't have to be like a really fantastic artist just to do some boulders. All right, so we've got our dark places on our rocks. You know, I feel like this guy should get a little dark down here too, where he's sort of touching the Okay, now comes the part where I teach you with this pencil. You're going to lay it down on the table and take your pointer finger. Your thumb goes underneath the pencil. Okay, do you see that? My thumb's underneath, and this finger goes on top. So this is how you're holding your pencil. And then you're going to shade very lightly, almost like my thumb is touching the paper and my pinky's touching the paper. And then I'm really lightly going to shade in some of this part of this boulder. Not all of it. You would think that when you are coloring something that you should do the whole thing. But you know, if you leave some white places, it looks even better. So this one too, I'm going to give them a little shading on the side. I like to do some curves like this on the side. Practice this on another piece of paper if you find this difficult. Again, I'm not going to do all of the rock, just little places. And then this one, I'm going to give him some shading here. Maybe a little bit over here where he's touching that other rock. And I'm going to leave it. That's it. Those are my boulders. Now, how do I make them look like boulders and not rocks? Time to switch pencils back to your sharp one. Well, it has to do with what is in the background. So the boulders are in the foreground. So if we add something to this, like let's say a tree, we can make it look like these are bigger than they really were. So we're going to add a little tree down here. So you're going to take your pencil, have someone put a little dot there if you need to, so it's not too far from the edge. And you're going to come up and you're going to swoop over like this. Watch. In fact, if you need to have an adult put another dot there for you to help you know where you're headed, that would be fine. So here we go. Swooping up to that other dot. There it is. All right. Now, this is going to be the beginning of a tree. I'm going to put another dot right here. And this time when I come up and swoop over, I'm going to try to touch this dot here. Don't go up big. Stay close to it, and as you get closer and closer and closer, then you touch the dot. And then from here, I'm just going to make the tree trunk go all the way to the top. Whoop, there he goes. All right, time for our shading again. Get your pencil that's not so sharp. Finger on top. In fact, it helps if you lay it on the table first. Finger on top, thumb underneath. And now, when you make your tree, make a little circle. And now make another little circle. And another one. And then keep circling, circling, circling. And here's your tree. It's going to look very, I don't know, just sort of fun. And like maybe it's hanging over the rocks. Don't press too hard. Try it. Circling, circling, circling. We're not drawing a circle. See, that would be different. You're actually doing little circles with your pencil in a circular motion like this. Now our rocks look more like boulders. I'm going to put a little bit of grass down here. Remember those 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Boulders. B O U L D E R S. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 letters. Here's the next. We'll write it again. B. Nice and careful. O U L D E R S. Boulders. Great job, everyone. Okay, we've drawn our rocks and our boulders. Time for our mountains. Now, if this is getting long for you, you can always stop and come back later and finish. Here we go, though, with our mountains. You want to find about halfway down this rectangle. Put a little dot there if it helps you. And we're going to come up, and we're not going to go all the way to the top. And then we're going to come over here to this dot over here. So it always helps if you have an adult put the dot so you know where you're headed. Now a mountain can look like a triangle, but we're going to go up, and instead of giving him a pointy top, I'm going to kind of scraggle over just a little bit, and then I'm going to come all the way down to this dot. Scraggle over. Mrs. Steele's making up words now. And so you can see he kind of has a flat top. And then behind him, you can put another dot right here. We're going to go up, and we'll make a pointy one back here. Boop. There you go. And over here, there's another dot here, and I'm going to go over to this dot here. And I don't know, I like to make my mountains so they're not perfectly pointy. So there's our mountains. If this is as much as you want to do, that is totally fine. You can stop the video here. But I think it would be wonderful to complete this picture by adding in our rocks and our boulders. And we're going to do that real quick like this. Do you see this dot where this mountain is? We're going to come down here, and we're going to make that path we did with the rocks and swoop down, go back up, and swoop over to this corner. Go ahead and do that now. And then we'll just add a couple pieces of grass so that we know that's our path. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Add your rocks, maybe some pebbles. I'm just going to put 2 for the sake of time. And then we're going to do some boulders back here. Now, a boulder is bigger than a rock and smaller than a mountain. So I'm going to put it right by the path here. I'm going to just do a swoop like a turtle's back and across. And then to make one look like it's behind it, I'm going to start here. I'm going to swoop over and scraggle over. I like that word, scraggle. And then maybe a smaller one right here. There's our boulders. Let's put some grass by them. We're not going to shade them right now for time. And then remember, to make them look bigger than they really are, we need a tree. Here's a faster way to do a tree than what I showed you before. Start your tree right about here, halfway up the mountain, and come right down the straight line. And then do a shorter one over here. Now we're going to just do a little cloud around each one. Boop, boop. I think of them as little smiley faces. Boop, 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 boop. And there we go. Mountains. M-O-U-N-T-A-I-N-S. Mountains. It's a long word. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you're just learning to write letters, you could have an adult make dots for you. I taught kindergarten for a long time, and sometimes at the very beginning of the year, when we were just learning, I would give some dots, and this would help my friends who were still learning how to follow lines. And then sometimes I just tell them, make sure you start here at the top and go around. And then you can trace over top of those letters. So get an adult to help you with that. Unless you're already fantastic at writing your letters, then do it on your own. Mountains, rocks, boulders, mountains. You did it. Great job, everyone. Thanks for joining me today on Draw It with Mrs. Steele from Camping Stick Kids. If you want to find our resources, remember, you can go to www.campingstickkids.org. And don't forget to subscribe to our channels. Our next drawing video will come out very soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.